Hi, I'm Carl Feldman, and today we're going to talk about three types of brand architecture. So this is a question that we get a lot. We have one main brand, a lot of different sub-brands. What's our approach? What do we do? What considerations should we think about? First, we'll talk about a branded house approach. Then we'll talk about house of brands. And last, we'll talk about blended house approach. So let's start with house of brands. This is an approach that has one umbrella brand with a lot of unique sub-brands. But keep in mind that each brand needs its own budget and effort. So that means you're going to be carving that up over a lot of places. It typically costs a little bit more to take this approach. Another thing to consider is transparency and clear messaging. And do you have any conflicts of interest between the different brands? It's not something we typically recommend because of the budget and extra effort involved, but sometimes it's necessary. What we do usually point towards is the branded house approach. And this is one brand with sectors and business units. So you can think of all of your level of effort and budget can go into building one brand instead of splitting that over many. The challenge is coming up with firm-wide positioning and differentiators. Clear messaging is really key when you take this approach. Last, let's talk about a blended house approach. Now this is kind of a hybrid approach. It's similar to the house of brands, but a little bit different. So in a blended approach, you have distinct brands, like the best example I can think of is a Coca-Cola. There is one dominant brand. So Coca-Cola, Fanta, Minute Maid, this is the blended house. So there's no distinct umbrella company, but you've got the same kind of considerations as the house of brands where you are splitting your budget and effort across a lot of different brands. So consider the same thing about conflict of interest, and is it transparent, and is the messaging clear for each brand? In this case, you don't have to consider so much that challenge of the firm-wide positioning because each has its own area, but it's close to the house of brands. So I hope that helps kind of eliminate some of the confusion around the different types of approaches to brand architecture, and I look forward to seeing you next time.